Hey everybody, John from Blair Air here. So, I want to show you a couple of things I'm enjoying finding out about the Mavic 3 Pro. These are a couple of things that no one has said or shown on any of the flashy reviews from the big time creators. I mean, they're wonderful. The visuals that they show and the shots that they're getting are out of this world. However, us regular folk are interested in a few things, and I think you might be too. So there it is, Mavic 3 Pro. So we do have this new gimbal cover or muzzle or whatever you want to call it. Some have said it's a little cheaper. I don't know about cheaper. I mean, it's just different construction basically. These are elastic. The catch is actually here instead of at the top like a magnet that flipped over here. But there's something else very interesting about it. Everyone has said this is the same drone, it just has the camera on the front. But that's not entirely true. If you look at the base of it here, look at where the bottom propellers are. On the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Classic, they sit right up against the drone. They literally touch the bottom of the drone. So that's part of the reason there's a new cover on here, because you can see how it's extended here to allow the props to sit away from the drone like that. And these legs here are actually have a slightly different fitting here so that they're a little bit taller, and I'll show you why that is. I mean, it's obvious it's done because of the camera. So because this camera is so massive, I mean, when I first saw this thing, I thought for sure I was looking at something photoshopped. There's no way they had something that, look at how far it sticks off the front of the drone. It looks a bit oversized, but then again, the Air 2S looked oversized when they stuck that 1-inch sensor on there. Now I have a filter on there, and with that mirrored effect on the 70mm, it's very cyborg looking. I absolutely think that's cool. And it does not lock the gimbal anymore. On Mavic 3 it does. Classic I don't believe locks it either. It's not a very strong lock. It just holds it in place kind of with the mild pressure. You can just kind of pop it and then the lock, lets go. But yeah, the way these legs sit, they definitely sit up off the bottom like that. And so I guess you have to be careful about pressure on them, because you're not going to warp them or anything unless you leave it that way for extended periods of time, maybe in a very hot environment. But that's the way they are. Anyway, I wanted to show you that, and the other thing is something about flight. Actually, more specifically, about how cameras are used. There's a feature that this has that I have not seen on Mavic 3 unless they added it in the most recent firmware. And nobody has told you about it. It's not on any video I've seen, and it's a very kind of a small thing, but kind of cool. So I'm going to take a flight, and I'm going to show you what that is. And stand by for that. It's coming up. Actually, before I take that flight, there's a couple of things I wanted to share. So, differences about the Mavic 3 Pro. One is this charging block. So it's the same physical dimensions, works the same way. This is a different part number. And the reason it's a different part number is because this is a 100-watt charging block we get with two USB-Cs on it. The Mavic 3 and the Classic come with a 65-watt charger. So they've always said you could charge these batteries at 100 watt, and people were doing it, and I was like, I did a check with my voltage test, and it was not charging them any faster. The reason was I was doing it in the charging block. If you do it in the drone with a 100-watt charger, they will charge faster. It's because the charging block was limited to 65 watts. So that's a difference right there. You will get faster charging with this. And the other thing I wanted to show you was, and might be not that significant to most people, but it is for me, the bag that they give you with this thing. So it's going to look really big on camera, but it's actually significant. The one that they gave with the Mavic 3 was a beast and could be turned into a backpack and had all this extra components and straps in it and weight on it, and it's just all the extras that they put to make it a backpack, which was just a big soft bag, like, no framework in it. You couldn't put anything, you wouldn't put photography equipment in that bag. It was just a big soft pouch. They said you can carry your jacket in there. I don't need a bag for my jacket, DJI. I'll worry about my jacket. You worry about the drone. So all this has is the typical setup inside of a Mavic. Let me put some light on the subject here. It's a typical bag with that super soft, almost Alcantara kind of stuff in it. And you've got two sections over here, one for your controller, one for your batteries. I guess you could put filters here, you can put them up in here like I have it here. You can put them, there's another section, another pouch here you can put them. And the drone sits in here. I had to go look at the videos because I wanted to make sure I was putting it in there right. It actually goes in there with the top of the drone this way and the base of it towards this side, and that's the way it fits best in there. Anyway, I think this bag is really nicely made. It's sharp. It looks kind of gray here, but it's more black than gray. Has a nice easy pouch on it, and it has a really padded shoulder strap that the other one didn't have, like really soft padding, and it's just right size. If you don't want to carry around a hard pack and you're hiking or you're walking great distances, this is the way to pack. I've said that about their other bags too. People hate them or love them. I think they're great for when you want to pack light. Anyway, I want to show that to you so you can see that as well. And the next thing you'll see will be the features that I want to show you while in flight. Okay, so just some more differences between these two. They sit at exactly or very close to the same height. Essentially, it's the same measurement according to specs. So you can see the top of the Mavic 3 Pro camera and the top of the Mavic 3 align. It's the, from there down, it actually hangs out lower at the bottom, as we would expect. Also sticks out further off the front, as we know. Here's where it gets a little bit weird. So the rear leg, if you look at the rear leg here, and you see how it's, I'm using a knife as a pointer here, and you look at the length of this, the size of the fitting from here to here, right, under the motor, it's about, I don't know, ½ an inch. If you look at it on the other one, it's quite a bit less. So this is smaller, and if you look, the light is almost on the ground. It's just a very, very fine gap there, and then just a very small gap above it. You can see the space above the LED, between the LED and the motor. If you look on this one, space between the LED and the motor is taller, and this is the leg that swings around to the front and makes it stand taller when folded. And I think that was part of the key, part of the reason they did it this way. So if you look at the bottom here, you can see that this section above the LED light is now stands out. So there's a gap in there, you can see through it. It's kind of interesting. And if you look at the original, you'll see that that is a flat piece. It's a little wider, and you cannot see through it. It's flush, or mostly flush. There's a very tiny little gap in there, but it's not the same. So that's different. And that's about it. I'm going to fold these and show you the difference in height there.